We are live and in living color. Welcome to another fantastic episode of This Week in Reselling, where I have a little help from my friends. Here we'll disguise the highs and lows in reselling and dive into great conversation. We are positive they're going to hear something that's going to help you become a better reseller. I'm your host, Ray, and I'm joined with three of my co-hosts. We have Kristen, a real squirrel, the unofficial fourth member of the podcast.
Unofficial.
And we officially unofficial. And then we have Joe with I'd Flip That.
Hey, I like that.
Do it.
And then we have Brendan with Big Time Flips.
With Big Time Flips, kind of.
Roxy.
Let me try that again. Hold on. Oh, it's not working good. Do you like your little intro music? Sorry. And then we have our guest. I'm getting distracted, Jen. I'm sorry. Straight from the multiverse herself, Jen Multiverse is in the building. Good to see you, Jen. Jen, I don't have a intro music for you, so I'm sorry.
No, what? I don't need intro music.
See, this is Joe's new intro music.
I like that. That's fitting.
Here comes the money.
Okay.
So, and this
Everybody
is
knows they're listening to a billionaire now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Exactly.
Joe, that should be your ringtone for real.
Oh,
Be.
that would be really good.
Yeah. Joe, is that plant real behind you? That Birds of Prey?
It is.
That's
Yes.
an awesome plant.
Yes.
We're big plant people around here.
I actually just picked up 5 plants free when I was delivering pizza Sunday night. They had them all just sitting down at the end of the driveway, and I go, "Are those free?" She's like, "Yep." Grab out. She works in a greenhouse, and she's like,
Oh wow.
"I have way too many. They got to go. I have one right here that." She goes,
Those are
"Two
nice.
of them.
What a
2 of
deal.
them are
Look at that.
like this is like a $70 plant." She's like, they grow in Arizona, and they can just be like 5-6 feet tall. So I have 2 of those, 2 snake plants, and I don't even know what the other thing was. So
A lot of, you know what's funny? I had a reseller on a past episode of the podcast, and guys, this is episode 13 of the new revamped
that's my number.
This Week in Reselling podcast. But
How we've made it this far, I have no idea.
I know, right? But she's
Worry about
the way
Kristen
she
along
got
the
started.
time.
Yes,
Going.
we got Kristen on, so. But the way she got
Made
started
it.
selling on eBay is selling plants, like selling the
that's super
bulk.
cool. I wonder how
and
you
I'm
ship
like,
that stuff.
she told me she did it, but I remember one time I was looking for a fiddle leaf fig, and then I was gonna buy one on Amazon, and I didn't. But I'm like, how would you ship that
Right?
plant? But yeah, that's an awesome.
I didn't
plant.
realize you knew so much about plants, Ray.
I'm a big
Yeah, I
plant
didn't
guy. You should see I'm gonna send you a picture of my monstera right next. And I have a really big fiddle leaf in my office that I called Fiona the fiddle.
All these words are foreign words to me. I don't know what.
I'm
Fiddle
with
leaf
you,
flick.
yeah.
A good fiddle leaf, like a real
yeah,
tall
he's
one,
making 'em
you
up.
can get like.
Just,
I mean, depending on how big, it's like you can get up to like $300 or $400 for it all day long.
So you have like a green thumb?
I mean, kinda.
Wow.
like
Have you
Cypress
ever
Hill.
bought plants on whatnot or online? I guess in general.
I've never bought any plant online, but what we've been doing also is that we've been propagating. Like we have a huge fiddle leaf in our dining room. It's getting so big, so we've been propagating it, and finally, it's been like doing the growing roots, and we're gonna sell off its offspring or whatever.
That's cool.
The babies.
The babies.
Mm-hmm.
I brought my friend to the Sturgill Simpson 2 weeks ago, and he was telling I had no idea. He's like got a greenhouse in his living room, kitchen, everywhere. I had no idea, and he's selling them on just Marketplace right now. But when we were there, he's like, "Hey, I just sold a $150 plant," and I'm like, "What?"
No big
Yeah.
deal.
And they just
And-
grow. They keep growing. They're
Right.
like puppies or something, or like breeding dogs. Or
I didn't know you could grow puppies.
And he was saying he was thinking about selling them on Whatnot. And I go, "Well, if you need an in, I can give you a referral." He's like, apparently he's bought so many plants on Whatnot that they message him and they're like, "Do you want to be a seller of plants?" Because they want to grow that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've
He's like,
never
"I'm
seen
already
anybody do that.
Is there a
Yeah,
plant
that
category on Whatnot, Jen? Do we
yes,
know?
and it's kind of blooming. They make some of the
Oh, I
biggest
see
money,
what you did
Yeah.
there.
pun intended.
Blooming.
I feel
Hey,
like you
they
would.
do sell some crazy expensive plants.
I feel like if you
Wow.
to ship something like that, you would put like plastic over the leaves, and then I don't know.
I've seen
Light 'em.
unboxings and they're almost like moisture packs. I think to
Mhm.
me they look like a paper towel that has kind of been
Yeah.
soaked with water and they're planted around like the roots of it and then they're covered in
Oh.
like those protective bags when you would cover against bad weather or ice or something
Mhm.
and then they put that in the box and they ship it. I've seen some openings. So, but I don't know where they get all the stuff or if it's,
Yeah.
expensive or not. I don't know.
I imagined like a pot of dirt, like how would that would stay in whenever it was in shipment because I can't get
Yeah.
it to stay in just going from one table to the next table without dropping all of it all over the place.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I guess, packing it a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. But they
'Cause-
do, even a lot of them put instructions. Like after you unbox it, they say fluff the leaves, put it at, the sun. They usually put good instructions depending on the plant, what to do immediately after opening. So that's cool. You have to
That is
really
Aren't
know
you?
about them.
Joe's a professional fluffer, aren't you, Joe? For leaves, right?
Uh, man,
We're going there this
Leaves.
early already.
I didn't
right?
expect. I didn't see that coming.
It's good to see that Brendan is out of prison here. It looks like
Yeah,
you.
I
He's
was
at the
noticing
yard.
that.
He's in the
Straight.
library.
I got some free time.
Oh,
Okay.
I got some free time.
Yeah.
in the common areas.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Jen,
Oh yeah.
for the people that may not know you, could you give us a little brief introduction of who Jen's Multiverse is? Just a little. Give us a little.
Little,
Give us
yeah,
a little
little
snippet,
taste,
a little
of the-
like
yeah.
cliff note, if you will.
All right. Well, I am a reseller. I'm a full-time reseller, and I've been full-time reselling for about 5 years now. And I used to sell Poshmark and eBay and Mercari and Depop and Etsy and Facebook and anywhere the real send to ThreadUp. And now this entire year, at the beginning of this year, I have only sold on Whatnot. And
Wow.
so I'm officially like a full-time Whatnot seller. And it's been a crazy life, but I do have a YouTube channel and I've been mingling with my YouTube channel for 3 years. I am technically monetized on it, get a little change every now and then. And but I'm trying to transition my YouTube channel into a Whatnot YouTube channel to send people to my Whatnots and then bring the Whatnotters to my YouTube and grow in that niche. So ultimately, just to increase my Whatnot traffic and sales and stuff like that. So I am going to start putting out all the Whatnot videos if anybody's interested, and hopefully start to, get back into the YouTube swing of things. That's kind of
Good.
will sum
That's
up.
that's great. I know that I've talked about this before on the podcast, but I have my best performing video on YouTube is a Whatnot video. And to this day I get comments about that video and it's over a year long, which I watched your video recently that you posted on YouTube about your full time into Whatnot instead of eBay and all the other platforms.
Yeah.
Jen, so I'm like, okay, I'm loving what's going on here. Which another reason why I wanted to have you on is because of this comment that I received on that video that I'm talking about, not yours, but the one that I posted about Whatnot, and I posted it on my Instagram story, and some people commented on it. But I wanted to get everyone's perspective on here because it's kind of like the question that everybody always gets asked or everyone always gets upset about or whatever, right? So shout out to Optimus with 2 S's, 66. He writes, or she writes, unless you have a following on social platform, you are not going to make any money. I sell on eBay and I have tried to get people who follow me there to come to Whatnot auction, and only 3 people came and bought something. So they're upset because they're trying to get their eBay audience to come over to Whatnot, which
I feel like that's so hard to
that's
do.
yeah, that's the number one question that the number one I would say. What would you say, Kristen? Like the
Like the hiccup, the
the
thing that really
stigma. Yeah,
right. The
that
speed
people
bump
think
getting people over
that
there.
people think that you have to have a social media following to be successful on Whatnot, and which I can name. I mean, Jen has a small social media following, but nothing like Paul's social media following, and she is one of the best sellers on the platform.
Mhm.
Which,
Thank you.
how many people do you think converted, Jen, if any?
My conversion from like YouTube and Instagram, my social media, which was small, especially then. I think I had just hit 1,000 followers on YouTube. My Instagram was probably about 2,000 followers, which that's not large at all when you're talking about any type of social media. These people are talking about influencers, people with
Exactly.
tens of thousands of followers. So I consider myself not really having a social media following, but it did help because I've made some strong connections. So at the beginning, my friends were in there supporting those shows, checking it out, stuff like that. So that conversion really did happen strongly towards the beginning, and it's not a lot in the scope of how many I'm at 20, almost 22,000 followers,
That's
and
On
awesome.
Whatnot.
imagine maybe a percent or 2% is from my social media. I don't even have Facebook, or I'm not even on Twitter or TikTok, or
Mhm.
not, or X, or anything like that. So the conversion's not huge, but I do get people that trickle in every now and then, and the same thing, it's a video, they're like, I know this video is from 2 years ago, but I
Mm-hmm.
saw it on YouTube and I wanted to come in and say like thanks, like it helped me a lot. So I do get those people, but it's not every show, it's not multiple people every show, and they
Mhm.
don't necessarily say they'll buy from me. They just tell me like, I found your video, and then they go on about their business. So it's a very, very small turnover for my amount of social media following.
Which is crazy
Otherwise,
because
everything else.
from 2000
What?
to 25,000
Yeah,
is
that's
insane.
crazy.
Wow.
And I can name. I mean, think about it. Like, Evolving Farmhouse doesn't have a huge following on social media. She's killing it on there. Like Noonie Bird, Hanger, like all these people that you see constantly on Whatnot that we all know, they're not Harry Tornado. They're not Kevin the Commonwealth Picker. They're not these huge
Mhm.
names and YouTube and Instagram or what have you that are killing it on these platforms. So I wanted to bring this up to the panel. And I know Brendan hasn't done any Whatnot shows, and Joe's, he's like in and out, trying to figure it out. And Kristen, you're like in the perfect spot to where you're finally like putting those eggs in the basket.
But
Is
I
that
think it's with anything. If you want to grow on Whatnot, you have to put in the time for it. And if you want to grow on YouTube, you got to put the time in for it. You want to grow on anything, you got to put the time in it.
Yeah.
So I think that if you spend time on any platform, you're gonna get followers. You just have to continue. You water your plants, you got to do it.
Nice callback. Nice callback.
Yeah, I don't imagine that anybody that just goes on and does one or two shows, and maybe you don't always do great your first couple shows, right?
Yeah.
The people don't know that you're there. I think that the people that give up after even like 10 shows, if you do it sporadically and you aren't consistent, then it's not gonna grow. So
I
I think you got to try.
Yeah, I feel like most people who are coming over from like eBay, as a good example, a lot of those people, they're trying to get rid of their desktop. They're coming over because they have excess inventory that they haven't spent time listing on their eBay. So that being said, also, you're not bringing your top-notch inventory. You're bringing the bottom of the barrel. You're digging underneath your death pile. What's been here for 2 years that I don't care about? That's not worth my time on eBay. So even then, when you think about that, the eBay sellers, you can't bring the bottom of the barrel and expect to, get
That's
a lot
true.
of people who are interested in the product and are going to follow you. You really
Right.
have to be willing to bring some top-notch product, and even if it's a mix, even if you bring 5, 10 really nice, beautiful items. So people are like, whoa, that's some good stuff. And sprinkle in, 25, 30 other, little bread and butter pieces. Like, so it's kind of, people see somebody very successful and they just want to jump in there once with their subpar inventory and put in 1 hour of work and expect greatness. It's it's definitely not.
You know what I think is cool though about, especially with your shows, you curate them. I love it that you can have, like on eBay or like Poshmark, a lot of people curate their stores. So they want certain items in there. They want it to look a certain way. They coordinate things. They put little fancy things in the background. I mean, they work it, and then they do really well.
Yeah.
But on Whatnot, you can have one show that's like Poshmark curated, and then the next show you can have toys and games, and then you can do cards, and then you can do something different every single time, and still be successful in different areas and different avenues, but not committed to exactly the same one thing. I like that about that.
I feel like the big reason I haven't really jumped into it is because like I don't have access to that much good inventory to like be consistent.
Okay.
Go for it. You go to the bins all the time, don't you?
But man, but they have not been good recently. So
I don't like, I mean, I don't want to say I don't like plush. I just don't know anything about plush. I've never had plush. I don't collect plush. My kids weren't into it, but that's what my bins has. So that's what I'm running with. It's not where I would normally go, but it works. It's working. So you just need to find what you can get and do that.
That's good.
That is a good mindset too, though. It's if you're trying to be consistent on Whatnot, it's a live auction. Any live auction selling platform, really, it is about moving high volume. And it's at the beginning. That's another thing. People started at the beginning and they have all the inventory because it's a big, huge death pile. But then they get stuck because they've gone through all of their inventory, their death pile that's been laying there. And then they realize like, oh, shoot, now I really need to source high quality, high quantity inventory. And then that's where they start to fumble a little bit also because they're like, well, I need to refigure out my sourcing methods. So
have you like completely changed the way that you source now then? Because you're doing strictly Whatnot? Is it different than when you sourced for eBay or Poshmark or Mercari or anything?
It is, yeah. It's different. I do go to the bins more. Which I'm not a bins person. I don't really like it. That's kind of backbreaking work, which I don't mind doing backbreaking work, but I don't necessarily find it fun because San Antonio, which I'm in San Antonio, they're not very good bins. I've seen so many videos from other places where they're bins. I'm like, yeah, if I was finding stuff like this on a regular basis, our bins aren't very good. And I have to really spend a lot of time to find just like, offset pieces. But I do go there more because I need to find a way to bring down that low cost because I am also doing a lot more retail arbitrage. I'm doing a lot of retail arbitrage. So I'm going to, a store, I'm shopping online and I'm spending like hundreds of dollars in this one store going to the next, hundreds of dollars. So I have to offset that. Now I still go to garage sales, which is amazing. We have them all the time. But I'm really also trying to find like new tag, new items, the cult classic trendy stuff, because I have also switched gears into doing like mystery boxes, and I don't feel comfortable doing mystery boxes with pre-owned items because that's people, we already have a strong opinion one way or another. So it's been definitely a mix, but I still do graphic tees, the trading cards I do, but I kind of, that's a whole other avenue on its own, especially for sourcing. But for my mystery box shows where I'm really gearing toward, for my graphic t-shirt shows, I still do plush shows that I find at garage sales and I find at the Goodwill bins.
What's your favorite thing to sell on Whatnot, Jen? Like if you had like unlimited like able to find this certain thing, you would just be like, this is all I'm doing.
My absolute funnest shows, which I've really pivoted to, they have been the mystery box shows, the game show of entertainment, selling that entertainment value. And they're fun for me, and they're very fresh for other people. Yes, and people understand that, and I feel like people are willing to spend more on a item, right, a box, because they're also playing a game. They're also being entertained, so they get the entertainment value with the confirmation of they also get something in the mail, a physical, tangible item. It's very hard though, because my items, I like them to be nice prime items, again, so it's hard to maintain sourcing for that. But that aside, because mystery boxes are not even for majority of sellers or buyers, but let's say we took that out, then I would say graphic tees. I love graphic tees. I love being able to bring 100 t-shirts, not photograph them, not list them, and just do random tees, and know that there's going to be people from all sorts of categories, from all sorts of interests. Anybody would like a good t-shirt. Anybody would want to see a t-shirt, all sizes. So I feel like graphic tees kind of hit all spectrums of the community, and it's an easy show for me, just doing random boom, run it, random boom. I could just hit run next, run next, run next, multiple quantity, put the numbers. So it's an easy show. It's a fun show. I love graphic tees, so I have like the conviction behind the product that I'm selling. I enjoy them myself. And it's a fun communication, with a chat. If it's a band that comes up, if it's an old cartoon that comes up, if it's, single stitch or something. So that would be my other item, would be graphic tees.
Do you have any kind of rag houses or anything there in San Antonio that you can purchase like bales and stuff? I feel like there's several of those addresses.
There are. I haven't necessarily found them strictly for t-shirts. I did for clothing. Okay. And some of the places, they're a little bit expensive. And I've always been the person, I like to hand pick my items. I've never been a big bulk sale. That's why I've never really gotten into wholesale or liquidation buying or things like that. But I've never checked for graphic tees, which is something I know TJ Pallet Jack and Love Lady recently, and I was thinking, I wouldn't mind if I could find a big pail of t-shirts. That would be kind of fun and cool, because that would be kind of like a mystery unboxing, all t-shirts. So it would be another entertainment value, right? So yeah, I got to look for something like that. I have been thinking about it, but I haven't checked yet.
Yeah, that's the same. Your same reason is the same reason why I haven't jumped into buying pallets of stuff. Like I've dabbled in it a little bit, but not specifically for whatnot, because again, I like to pick and choose some of the stuff. And to be honest, the pallets that I have purchased, like a third of it is just garbage. So it's like, I don't want to have to buy something and a third of it, I have to throw it away. So, but I don't think with clothes, it's not like, you can't really, even if it's a hole in a t-shirt, depending on the t-shirt, it might sell for like $300.
I think about Pat D's. He gets those great big pallets, and most of his are like Home Depot, not Home Depot, Dollar General. Yeah. I do wonder about how much of that is garbage. Stuff right. How much of it do you have to get rid of? So I'm always nervous about buying a pallet because of that. So I don't know. TJ did a good job by
I might have to take a trip out to Knoxville and pick up a bale or two for TJ's Connect, because that's fun. Yeah. But the reason why I asked you that question, Jen, is because my wife and I were talking while we were on vacation. And she was like, if you were to sell anything on Whatnot and completely keep it, consistently sell it, what would it be? And I said, I think it would be Pokemon cards, because it's just so easy to ship, you know, and
you had some fun shows too, though, with your.
I have a lot of fun with my shows, and I didn't know. I ran some trading cards, just packs of trading cards in my last electronic auction, and I did the best I have ever done on selling trading cards. And these are people that are not in the trading card category, which I'm like, man, I think there is something here, but there's just so much competition that I don't know that like, I would have to stand out, or I don't know. But that's what I would do. So
Yeah, it's hard because I don't know, Ray, if you know or remember, but I did start Whatnot in the TCG category, and I was
mm-hmm.
doing Pokemon. And if it hadn't been for them opening up the women's clothing category, I think I think I would have abandoned ship. You know, I would have had to because the Pokemon specific category, I love Pokemon. I could open up packs for days. Profit margins aren't very high though when you're doing box breaks and
Yeah.
selling off packs at a time. You have to be willing to sit there for hours, right, and open up tons of them. So even then, the initial cost, if you're going to open up box after box after box, it's expensive. It is expensive, and then you're gonna, on average, I would say about it's a 20% markup from what you spend. So if you're spending $1,000, for 20% markup to sit, everything is easy, sure, and it's fun, but it's very hard to grow in that category unless you
Mm-hmm.
have like legit connections with tons of inventory coming in and you have a lot of capital up front to put into it. And it's hard, but it's so nice to ship cards. It is
Oh,
so nice. You put them in a little top loader, put them in a little bag, put them in a little padded envelope, and they're out the
get
door.
out of
And
its way.
Yeah.
it's small packages, so you don't have to go to the post
Mm-hmm.
office with like a whole
Mhm.
tractor full of boxes. It's one little bag, and it's
Mm-hmm.
nice. It
Overwhelming
is. There are
postal guy. Yeah.
yeah. There's
Yeah,
definitely perks to
I
it.
would have to, if that was the case, I would have to get like a wholesale license and buy directly from,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, that would be the
yeah.
only way.
Wholesale license. You have to make sure you're not paying any taxes on that stuff to
Mm-hmm.
reduce like the cost, as much as possible, um, and then grind, still grind because yeah, you gotta. And a lot of those people that do it, they have multiple channels because they're a whole business with like, they're it's like Kraken Hits 1, Kraken Hits 2, Kraken Hits 3, Kraken Hits 4, and they
Mm-hmm.
have a
Because they're
whole
always
employee
going.
base. Yeah, and they go
Yeah.
24/7. How can one
That just wears
person, a
me out
single
thinking about it.
entrepreneur, a sole proprietor, compete with them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's hard. It's hard to
That's
compete
what
with,
happened. So, that's what our used to be bread and butter bin store, which was Gimme a Five, got bought out by a company called Kivadu, and now Kivadu just sells specifically on Whatnot.
Yeah,
And so, if
okay.
you look at Kiva, they have Kivadu, Kivadu 2, and Kivadu
Yeah,
3. So there's
yeah,
and Kivadu Kicks. So they sell just specifically shoes, and they're just selling everything
yeah.
that you would see in a bin store, but on Whatnot directly to the person, which makes sense because instead of just throwing it
Yeah.
out there, paying employees, paying for the building, doing all that, and getting $5 an item, now you could, you're selling to the world basically. So I have this fly
Yeah.
and this keeps swatting on this fly. Sorry, guys, but yeah, yeah. So, real quick. So, if you wonder where Brendan went, he had to leave. He had like a little family thing going on. So we'll see Brendan on next episode. He had to get back to his back home.
Solitary
So
confinement.
yeah, solitary confinement. His time was up. But so Jen, could you tell us a little bit about your mystery box thing that you were alluding to, so the people that may not know? I haven't been to any of your White Elephant shows or mystery box
Yeah.
games. I'm like, sometimes when I see that stuff, it's intimidating to me. Like when
Oh,
I
they're fun, but I don't know how you keep track of everything. To me, that would be hard. It's so fun, but I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, it's so mystery box, they're this is like one of those things that you could ask for ages and ages to come, and it's some people will hate them, some people will love them, some people could care less. It's one of those things that are definitely not for everybody. But the fun factor sells on Whatnot. And
mm-hmm,
you have to have the good inventory, you have to have the good personality, you got to have the consistency. But ultimately, once you do all that, like people want to go to a show where they get away from real life for a little bit, right? They had a bad day, they get to just unwind and hang. So these shows, they are a mystery box show, but it's a game, and we play White Elephant. So it's not just buying mystery boxes and done. It's also a game. And some sellers, it's hard because it is a long process. And this game is like, if anybody's ever played it before, it's usually like a Christmas style game. You play with friends and family or at work, and you bring little gifts and you trade and you steal and you know. So there is strategy to it also. And I've implemented different features into the White Elephant game where it just adds to the strategy concept. So for people who like to play board games, who like to play video games, they like to use their minds and make decisions and like, is this the right decision, the wrong decision? But with the safety net of knowing, even if they make the wrong choice, even if they get their stuff stolen, that they're still going home with a valued item. So there's a lot of rules to follow with it, though. Mystery boxes has a huge policy. There's a fine line between gambling and raffling and breaking policy. So there's a lot to know for that, right? Because you have to let people know what your floor value is, what your ceiling value is, and what the average is of all the items. So people get an idea. Do you have mostly floors and like one ceiling, or do you have a nice mix of stuff? So there is a lot behind it as far as like from the seller standpoint, and then being able to maneuver. And if somebody steals from somebody else, and then you have to know like what they have now, and you have to keep track of what goes where and who's on first and all of that stuff.
Counting cards.
Ultimately though, it's not for everybody, but the people that love it, they really love it. They really enjoy it, and they have a lot of fun. And if you can maneuver through making sure the policy, everything you're doing by the book, per whatnot, per your laws, per all of that, and if you can manage the show and maintain the show in a hosting atmosphere where you're truly hosting, which I'm sure Joe knows a lot about, like it's like hosting some sort of game show. It's kind of in that aspect, and it's also maintaining reading the chat. That's also maintaining your level of enthusiasm. And so it is hard, and I think that's why a lot of people don't do it, and I think that's why it is successful, because to be able to do it and to hit all the boxes, the few people that do really enjoy it, they're going to come back and keep finding you. And I love it. And this past Sunday I did 4 rounds, and I have 20 spots per round. So I've sold 80 mystery boxes. And
wow,
that's crazy.
And
how much are the mystery boxes?
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
I start them at 25.
They start at 25.
Yeah, I start my auction. I run it at 25, and my floor is always 25. So I start them at my floor. My floor is at minimum 25.
So everything
my
in that box
rounds,
is
though,
of
my floor
$25
30,
value.
but I still start them at.
Sorry.
Yeah, minimum value means you're going to get $25 worth of value.
Gotcha.
So that's what that floor means. So I started at 25, which means the person, if they bid $25, at worst, they're getting their money's worth in product. Plus you got the entertainment factor. So, sometimes my boxes, they get bid up to 30, 35, $40, 45. People come in and they watch one round and they're like, how do I get in on this? And so then the next round they really want to play because they see it. And then, so the value of the boxes start to increase on the bidding. So it's nice. It's been very lucrative. It's been very fun for me mentally. And I've definitely seen a lot of growth on Whatnot due to it.
So when you play that game, how do people steal from other people, and then at the end, do you open every box and be like, this is what you got? Or do you just ship it and nobody just knows?
So they're numbered. So 20 people buy 20, right? 20 people buy a box, and it's like, okay, Ray, you got box number 1, Joe, you got box number 2, Kristen, you got box number 3, and then so on for 20. So we open them up in order. So the first box bag is opened up, and it's like, all right, Ray, this is yours. You have to stay because you can only steal from what's been open. So player 1, nothing has been open. You're the first one. So player 1 has to stay. So at the very end, after all boxes have been opened, player 1 then has the choice to go in there and steal whatever is available. Okay. So Ray, whatever he gets, he has to stay. So Joe is next. And Joe's like, I like that item. I want it right away. Joe says, I want to steal Ray's item. So you steal Ray's item. That is yours, locked in. Now you're out of the game. You're out of the game. You got your item. That's what you're leaving with. Perfect. Boom.
So
now
nobody
Ray's
else can
still
steal
in the game
what Joe has.
Correct. Nobody else can steal what has been. So you can steal one time, and that's it. So once Joe stole Ray's item, that item's out. But now Joe's item is Ray's new item. So then Kristen goes up. Now Kristen can decide, does she want to steal Ray's new item and lock that in and get out of the game, or does Kristen want to stay with her item? So if Kristen decides to stay, the person after Kristen then has two choices to steal from. They can steal from Ray, or they can steal from Kristen, or they can stay. So every person gets the decision.
You Post-it note everybody, so that keeping track of that, who stole what, and making sure everybody gets.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
That's all me. I maneuver the Post-it notes around. I secure them. And it gets tricky when people go on a stealing frenzy, because if you're stolen from, you get the choice all over again. So if you're
stealing
stolen
somebody
from,
else,
it's like So now I have to remember, like, okay, now you were stolen from, but do you want to steal from
pay attention.
someone else or stay? So it is a lot to it is a lot to maintain, but if done correctly, it's enjoyable.
That sounds awesome. Is there like a chase item that you tell people? It's like, okay, in one of these boxes, there's going to be like a PlayStation 5.
I don't. One thing is Whatnot kind of frowns
whatever the ceiling is
on like chase. Yeah, the ceiling. I usually never reveal my ceiling, kind of for that reason. But I always like to reveal at least one item that's in the game. One item.
Okay.
And for a lot of people, they love Loungefly. And I usually reveal Loungefly. Or like I had the jumbo, it was a 25-inch Pikachu Squishmallow, the original Pikachu Squishmallow that came out, which is valued at like $90 to $120. And I'm like, I'm going to show this. This is my one item I'm going to reveal to you. It's because it's cute and it's fun, Or if I have, like I recently did like a Hello Kitty, a huge Hello Kitty chair, like a big beanbag fluff up chair, so that this way people know like there is at least one item, but I try to make it not my ceiling so that I can say, this is cute, right? This is nice. This is fun. This is not even my ceiling. So that they know, there's something else. Because snap. I don't want people to play just for the ceiling, right? That takes away from the game. It's like, I don't want to have, 19 bags of candy and then have, like a 70-inch flat screen Samsung television. And it's like, okay, my floor is $1 and my ceiling, is $1,500, and show this off and have my buyers pay $400, $500, $600 for a chance to win this TV, because I know 19 of them are going to be disappointed when they get a bag of candy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a huge mental effort of knowing I do not want to disappoint these people after they spend the money and they instantly have buyer's remorse, and then they stop coming to my shows because they're going to lose control and overspend. And so it's tricky. It's very tricky, but I try to let them bid whatever they feel they're comfortable bidding, but also not inflate the prices and overdo their expectations. I want them to, I'd rather them pay a little bit less and just get extra surprised with something. Like I had a Samsung tablet, an Amazon tablet in my last game. And I didn't promote it. I didn't advertise it. It was a nice little $120 tablet and nobody knew it was there. And I've never had it before. And it was a very big wow factor at the end for people to see it, So I'd rather have that
time to steal.
Oh my gosh, we had no idea, than everybody playing for that item and disappointed,
Mm-hmm.
So how does that work with your big bean bag? Hello Kitty.
Yeah, how are you shipping that thing off?
Yeah, shipping that, and then like I'm assuming each $25 box has got its own. It's like, okay, this is shipping for this box. But then also there's one beanbag that's going to somebody else maybe or whatever. How?
So
yeah, like how the shipping, like what do people pay for shipping?
that's a great question. And if I can do a quick little plug, because Thursday, I do have a live early morning on Whatnot, and I am going to talk everything shipping. I'm going to try to talk because that is a question that I actually get asked a lot. I offer a flat rate shipping price, $8.77. So if somebody wants to go, if I have 4 rounds and they want to buy 2 boxes in every single round, I always have that. Because I have seen an influx of profits, and my out of pocket that I'm paying to ship is very small in comparison. So I'm ultimately investing a dollar amount into my shipping to gain more buyers and higher bids into the selling price. It's easy. It's one less thing I don't have to worry about. I don't have to answer shipping questions. I don't have to explain why somebody is paying this or paying that much. It's $8.77. They all know it's constant every single time. It's reassurance. Because if somebody wins, like I have a lot of giveaways, right? And I run a lot of giveaways. Somebody wins a giveaway and then they buy 1 box, their shipping is free the rest of the time. It's absolutely free, you know? And so it's just a reassurance, and it's one less thing. The least amount of worry a buyer with me can have is the best thing, because that they're not there to worry or stress or ask questions and get confused. It's just supposed to be about a good time. So I do that, and then on my back end, Whatnot gives us 5 adjustments per week. I use all the 5, but I usually now I spend anywhere from $10 to $30 out of pocket for shipping each week. That's not a lot at all. It usually works out very well for me, Now, in that sense, with that big old chair that I have, I simply unbundle that and ship it by itself. So if somebody else buys anything else, I unbundle that one shipping label, and then I ship that chair by itself, and then everything else I box up however accordingly. So if I have anything that's large like that, I just unbundle it and I use one of my adjustments, or I pay the extra. And I'm not worried about paying the extra because, like I said, it is a very small amount in the whole scheme of things.
Yeah, for you, I'm sure.
Yeah. But I get asked about shipping a lot.
Yeah, people get scared of shipping no matter what platform it is. And then I don't know if you heard, Jen, but speaking of things that are changing, Poshmart's new fee structure.
Oh yeah.
Like, I felt like at first some people were excited about it, but now I'm hearing not the most excitement about it.
It's kind of like, was it Macari also, that it's like the buyer is now paying for the fee? I hope eBay never does anything like that, because then I think that would kill eBay.
eBay's a beast.
Yeah, look. eBay is amazing. It's funny because Ray, you said you saw my little video that it was a 5-minute video, and I put a clip from like almost 3 years ago where I was like, "Will Whatnot take over eBay? No. Would I ever leave eBay for Whatnot? No, of course not." I even put on there like, "I love you, eBay," or something like that. And then I'm like, shoot, here we are almost 3 years later. And I'm like, eBay, what? Who? And it's like, but that's not talking down on eBay at all. I really do love eBay. I think eBay is amazing. It's just a different avenue opened up that I'm just, on a high with. And it's kind of lasted, for 3 years. So it's like, wow, but I would never talk down on eBay. eBay is absolutely amazing. And I feel like if you can make it work on eBay, like you could kind of probably make it work anywhere, because eBay it's very complex compared to eBay is like Android and everything else is like iPhone. iPhone is like, here it is. We give you everything and you just do it.
Don't say that.
On eBay is like, here's all of your options.
Here's everything. Yeah.
Okay, here's all of your options. You could
figure
do
it
whatever
out.
you want. The possibilities are endless. Yeah.
That's interesting. That is an interesting perspective. Jen,
I think they're all different demographics too. The people that are on eBay are not the people that are on Whatnot, and the people that are on Poshmark are not necessarily the people that are on the other platforms too. Every platform is different. I think everybody has different stores that they like to shop at, and everybody that like has different restaurants they like to go to.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing is with your selling platforms. Everybody likes to go to somewhere different.
Yeah.
So
Joe loves Waffle House.
Yeah.
Can't wait to drive by and shake my head going, why is everybody eating it?
Oh, so good.
Do you have a Waffle House there in San Antonio, Jen?
No. There is one on the drive, like out of Texas or close to Texas, like going towards Louisiana, I think it is.
Gotcha.
But no, I don't think there's any in San Antonio, unless it's fairly new. But no.
Okay. So Jen, I want to ask you this
I
question.
do like waffles though.
Yeah.
Waffles are good, right? But
yeah. Did you hear about my my Wafflies franchise, Jen? My waffle franchise, Wafflies?
No.
Where you can so this is my idea.
No.
So nobody steal it from me, okay?
copyright.
Don't tell anybody, okay?
I'm not gonna tell anybody. So it's gonna be like a Subway, but just waffles. So you go in, you pick out what kind of waffle you want. So like if you want multi-grain or this kind of waffle or whatever, like you put it in, they make the waffle there, and you go down the row and you get to pick all the toppings that you want from the waffle. I'm gonna call it Wafflies. And then if you want bacon and sausage and stuff like that, yeah. So. Coming to a suburb near you.
I love it, and I'm definitely going
to
be
there. Store tomorrow, just so you guys know, it's in Minnesota. Come visit.
What's tomorrow, Joe?
Your store. Opening up tomorrow. I'm cutting
there we
them
go. Tomorrow.
Opening up. Grand opening.
Grand opening of Wafflies.
Yep.
So, what was I gonna say, Jen? So I want to ask you this question, and the video that I was alluding to earlier. Give me your top 5 tips of being successful on Whatnot. If you can think of, they don't have to be necessarily like in order, but just the things that the 3 years that you experienced from you leaving the eBay platform to going full time to Whatnot. What have you noticed that are the 5 best things that you can do to be successful on this platform?
The absolute biggest, and it's the people think it's a cliche, and it's harder to do, I think, than most people think, but it's consistency. It is. It's straight up. It's consistency. That's the biggest thing. Doesn't really matter what you sell, anything else. If you are consistent and you show up time and time again, the same day, the same time frame, you do the same thing in the same category even. Consistency is huge. Now, once people are there and they know you're there and they can count on you, they're really only going to buy from you if you have good inventory. Okay. So, and that can be anything. And I don't mean good inventory like you have to be selling gold bars. You can sell anything, right? But it's just not trashy, undesirable, beaten up. You don't even know what it is. You don't even like it, right? So if you don't really like it and you don't get it and you're like, I don't understand, with the exception of some things I know, Kristen, like plush, right? Like that's not, but plush is desirable. It's not your thing, but it is a desirable item. People love plush and they're cute. So I just don't sell, I don't know, like some people, there's certain things where it's like, it's not a desirable people, like certain craft supplies, right? Like that's not a huge desirable thing, craft supplies. Now, the people that love it. They're going to pay for it. But if you don't know anything about craft supplies, you're likely to not find your audience. So plush is an exception, you know, trading cards is an exception. If you find, you know, Doc Martens, like there's certain things that are exception because they are desirable items. People like them, toys, you know, stuff like that. So inventory, so it's consistency and inventory. Also, which I think a lot of people kind of undervalue is lighting and the quality of the atmosphere and what they're watching. If you're just standing in front of a white wall and your lighting is just your basic overhead lighting, it kind of gets a little and people get a little bit sluggish, they get a little bit tired, they get a little bit bored, you know. So the lighting and your presentation makes a huge difference. And I don't care if the rest of your space is crazy.
I will also say, not just a blank white wall, but if I mean, granted, we're in our offices and stuff, but if it looks like gross, I'm not gonna buy from that.
What do you mean like gross? What do you mean by that?
You know, sometimes I'm just saying that maybe never mind. I'm
super curious to know what you mean by that. Like if you're like
okay,
like if you're selling stuff at like
in your kitchen and the kitchen is full of like nasty dishes and there's junk all over the place that looks like there's probably bugs in it.
Like a hoarder's house.
I'm not
just
saying
a dirty atmosphere. Messy atmosphere, dirty, messy atmosphere.
Right. If it just looks like the item is going to come to me and it's not going to be clean, then I mean, sure, I'm selling stuff from the bins, so I can't be too judgmental about stuff like that. But
I understand the difference.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I better stop because I'm at the bins.
That's exactly why Whatnot has the policy you're not allowed to smoke on screen. Like that's a policy. You can't smoke on screen, cigarettes, or even if it's legal in your area, because they don't want people to see smoke going around all the inventory, because there's a huge group of people that do not want to buy from smoker homes. They don't want their inventory right to smoke. So this is a policy for that reason, because all the seller is going to do is eel people away, right? And that's just that's nothing mean or that's nothing positive or negative. That's just truth. People are going to move away when they're like, well, I don't want my stuff to come smelling like smoke, especially when there's so many people buying for resale. And I've seen people that have their dogs, you know, jumping around on the sofa, and then they're laying the clothes on the sofa. And so it's like kind of that, like just use a little common sense. You know, people don't mind dogs and pets around, but if your sofa's right here and your dog's jumping on it and then you're setting your clothes down on it, I'm most likely going to buy a whole bunch of dog hair. And I don't really want to buy a dog hair. And I love dogs, you know? So it's just, it puts that mental thought in your mind of a negative purchasing experience. Yes. So that's, yes. So the atmosphere matters. The light.
Interesting. Okay.
Look, it really matters.
I once, funny story, speaking of smoke, sorry to interrupt you, Jen. But one time I was looking on Facebook Marketplace and there was this dope all leather Dale Earnhardt Senior jacket, you know, like Goodrich leather. And the first thing I asked the lady that was selling it, I said, is this come from a smoke-free environment? She's like, yeah, we don't smoke or whatever. I'm like, cool. I was like, meet me here. I'll buy it. Meet me here at this place and I'll meet you and we'll buy it. So I meet her at this gas station. Let's call her Broomhilda. So Broomhilda and her boyfriend Cletus come out of this old van, and he's like, yeah, here's the jacket. It'll be whatever it costs. And the first thing I did was smell it. And I said, this smells like smoke. I thought this came from because he was smoking while he was coming up showing me the jacket. And I said, this reeks of smoke. I can't buy this. The first thing I asked was if it came from a smoke-free environment. And they're like, oh man, it don't smell like smoke. It don't smell like smoke. I'm like, yeah, it smells like smoke. I'm sorry, I can't buy this. And so I'm walking away and they're like, what the F, man? We drove all the way out here for this cash. Can't you just give us some money for gas or something? And I'm like, hey man, if you got a problem, let's talk about it right here. But I asked you, if it smells like smoke, I'm not going to buy this jacket. Mm-hmm. And he kept ranting and raving. and all this stuff. And I just got in my car and drove away. I said, I ain't got time for this.
Yeah. Which is why when I'm in the bins too, like that's a thing. It passes the sniff test. I don't want to sell something that, even if it's not mine, I don't want to sell it if it's gross. So that's a reflection on me. So
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But sorry, Jen, go ahead.
Yeah, instantly if I buy something from someone and it comes in as smoke, it's unfortunate because even if I like the person, like I'm probably not going to buy from them again. So, and I know as a buyer feeling like that, there's other people who, if they buy something from me and it smells like smoke, even if I don't smoke, even if like I let something go and I didn't realize it smelled like it, they're more likely to not buy from me again if they're thinking the way I'm thinking. So, yeah, no, I completely agree. Completely agree.
So atmosphere. What was the other thing?
Yeah, consistency. Inventory, or like products, atmosphere. Chat. Reading the chat can be a huge make or break of your show.
It's hard. It's so hard.
Okay, I see so many people that they miss tips, they miss raids. They miss somebody saying, do you have this? They miss like, can you run that? And people don't realize that they miss what they miss. And they're like, man, I didn't have a really good show. And it's kind of like, well, somebody else tried to buy this, or you got a tip and didn't really. And then it's a little bit like, as an audience member, it's like, I feel bad if somebody tips and the seller doesn't acknowledge it. If you know, if somebody raids and the seller misses it and nobody says anything, because maybe it was a small raid, and then I feel like, oh, I feel bad for that raider, and that leaves an impression too. That person that tipped and didn't get acknowledged, the person who raided and didn't get acknowledged, the person who's asking, hey, I want to buy this, but you're like too focused on something else, or your back's turned, or now you're off on a tangent, which people just get caught up chatting. But I think that's another thing sellers underestimate is how much reading the chat and being aware of what is being communicated to you is really important. So if you have a second device and you're going to be turning your back a lot or sideways, put that second device in the other place where you're going to turn so you can look, at the chat in both areas. And of course, if you have a partner helping you, if you have, a spouse or child, then to me, there's kind of like no excuse, because the one person's job is usually to run the chat, right? Run the items, run the chat. And the other person is to show the stuff and just sell the item. So I think we just as sellers don't necessarily focus on that enough, but I think if you put a little focus into it, it can help. It can help a lot, right? Because that's nobody wants to be ignored, right? Nobody, and it's not intentional. I'm not even saying it's intentional, but it kind of turns you off.
Yeah, I feel like that's something you kind of have to like practice too. So I catch myself when I very first started, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is only like 30 seconds or it's only 10 seconds. So I felt like that because the item was only running for such a short amount of time, that I needed to hurry and like talk fast and like get things moving and go to the next one. And it was really stressful for me, but it's just been like maybe in the last 2 months that I've been like, okay, I get to run this as quick or as slow as I want to. So I just need to watch the chat. It's so hard to watch the chat. So I need to like slow down, and I have to go at my pace. And like, you might be able to go way faster because you can multitask better or you can see it better. But I have to slow down so that and
that's perfectly fine. Like that's how you work around that. If you're not, as like, whatever, like that's a perfect workaround. It's like you control it at your own pace. Which I'm glad you said that, because I think a lot of people, they feel like in this auction atmosphere, you see so many people, 2 seconds, sudden death, go, 2 seconds, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And that's not, you don't have to do that. That's not for everybody. That's not for every show. And you can talk about the item, spend 2 minutes chatting with the chat, talking, showing your item, and then be like, all right, you guys, you ready? You ready? We're going to start this. We're going to start this. And then you start the auction, and then you just focus on selling your item, or, you know, communicating still with the chat if you want, and you're just watching, but you've already done it. So now you're just holding it and you're trying to sell it, and then wait for it to sell, and then, you know, go on to the next one slowly and do the song and dance all over again. It's just a nice little slow rhythm song and dance, you know? You don't gotta break dance every time.
Yeah, exactly.
We sold
so the chat that would definitely be like my fourth
thing.
I got blurry.
You
see what I mean? I move too fast and my camera goes.
We had a pair of night vision goggles that we were selling on Saturday's show, and instead of just showing the night vision goggles, I took the phone with me outside at night and turned the goggles on and put the phone to the goggles, and so the people could see like what all the goggles did, and I could like turn up the contrast and turn it down and see how well it did. It was our best selling item of the show. It sold for like $50 because people were. I took probably like 10. The whole process was like a 10-minute long process of me like taking it out of the box, showing it what it all did. It's like, okay, guys, let's go outside and test how good these goggles work. And people are like, oh yeah, this is cool. So like to your point, you know, sometimes you need to settle down, slow it down, show off the item, talk about it, show them all the features.
Engage.
And then run the item. Engage, exactly.
Yeah.
So, was that all the tips, Jen? Did we have one more?
I did 4.
Give us as many.
Well, I guess which this one might be boring. So I'll end it with like the 5th. This one might be kind of boring, but I think reading up on Whatnot's policies and their new updates and their changes that they're implementing, being aware of whether it's their Discord, whether it's their they have like a what is it called, like a blog sites. They have their seller accounts, Whatnot sellers. They have the academy. They have Instagram. You know, just being aware of like what they're doing. They're changing a policy. They're adding a new category. They have an event coming on. They're hosting, you know, their annual this or that. They're sending out, you know, surveys. Like, I think that engagement, as far as be aware, like you're selling on this platform, you should kind of know about the platform, and it helps because if you're aware of what's going on, then that's just more promotion that you can do and utilize their hashtags or promotions to promote your show. So the more you know, it's better, especially they have like this $25 free shipping going on. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I mean, you know, a lot of people, I don't hear sellers talk about that. If I had an iPhone, because it is only on iOS. Yeah. Like if I had an iPhone, I would be shouting it out like crazy, but you know, I don't, so I forget about it sometimes. But my buyers might have iPhones. My viewers who have never purchased before, you guys can load up, get some free shipping right now. It's like stress-free kind of a thing. And I think not a lot of sellers are really talking about it because they kind of don't know about it. They're not up in the changes and stuff. So that's a big one. It's a little bit boring, but it can be very beneficial to your shows and your whole business if you know. You got to know. You got to know what you know.
So what you're alluding to, I think I remember this correctly. First-time buyers on Whatnot get free shipping up to $25. Is that right, or am I miss?
Yes, but it's only for iOS.
Really?
So if you have an Android, I have no idea. They're kind of testing it, and I feel like there's no set date or how long it's going to last, or it could be forever, it could be temporarily. I just know it's happening right now, but it's only on iOS. So that's a little bit of a bummer, which, you know, is always the thing. iPhone and Android users are kind of, you know, there's a big divide right there on Whatnot. But Yeah, if you have an iOS and you have never purchased on the app before, you get free shipping up to $25. So think about people like in the plant category, right? Some of that shipping could probably get expensive because they got to do a lot for these big plants and extra care and stuff. So typically speaking, I think they said something like the crazy high percentage, 90 something percent of shipping is going to be like less than $25 or less. So it basically applies to most things, with the exception of sellers just shipping some crazy stuff maybe. But yeah, that's a huge thing to be able to buy free shipping, and that comes out of Whatnot's pocket. That doesn't come out of the seller's pocket. So the seller has nothing to lose and only everything to gain. So why am I not going into show after show after show, hearing this being repeated over and over and over again? I'm like, you know, and I get it, and it's like me too. I don't repeat it over and over and over again, because I kind of miss it a little, since I am an Android user. It's like, oh shoot, you know, but my buyers aren't all Android users.
Yeah,
you know,
especially
my
trying to pull in from your YouTube if they've not been on, and you're what is it whenever you can multicast, when you're multicasting from other platforms, if you're trying to get people to come over from other platforms anyway, yeah, I'd be shouting up from the rooftops.
Yeah, it's a big seller. It's a big selling point right there for sure. So
I can't remember what else they're doing. I know that I read it on last week's podcast. It's like free shipping and a couple other things when that email rolled out. I can't remember the other two things that they were doing.
I didn't read it. I guess I got to go get do my homework, like she said. I mean, with Whatnot too.
Yeah, and I mean, what, you know, if nothing else, there's a lot of people who do like community chat shows, and they'll talk a little bit about this or that and bring it up, but you don't want to depend on somebody else to lead you poorly or incorrectly when it's your business. So the best way to make sure you're getting the real accurate information is to just go direct to the source, right? So that's why I kind of like, I push that. I get it, you know, it's like not the prettiest thing, but I feel like that deserves to be in a top 5 tips for sure.
You're not wrong.
Oh, this stupid fly. Sorry, guys. I was trying to find the email. Yeah, and I just looked at, they sent out a survey because the electronic category had free or 5% seller fees up till October 3rd, and it just ended. So they were like put out a survey to see how it performed and all that stuff. So, which was awesome because we were only getting charged 5% instead of 5% instead of 8% or 9%. I don't even know what it is. 9%, right?
I don't know. I'm not in the electronic category.
7%?
No way.
Or just the regular eBay, or 8%, the regular Whatnot percentage. But yeah. You got any questions?
Can I ask
Joe?
a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
Well, I had a question for Joe, because I'm very curious, because I really like, you know, you guys were coming out and doing the thing and having fun, and I feel like you had a really good niche on the entertainment part. And then I don't know when it happened, but I feel like y'all just kind of disappeared, and I'm curious, you know, what, like, did just the new avenue open? Was it like not very good? Was it kind of like not lost interest, or did life happen? But I'm very curious why you went away.
We went quiet for a while. It's a lot of all.
Yes.
Of
okay.
We took the summer off, just doing the game show, doing Whatnot. When we did our Whatnot stuff, we were doing the raid trains, and you know, I think we didn't bring great products, so stuff didn't sell as much. I mean, there were some shows that were good, and then when we incorporated, you know, I mean, Nicole wants to give away everything, so she's like giving a giveaway every 3 minutes practically. That doesn't help eat into our costs and stuff like that, whatever. But you know, I don't know. And our other problem is I work evenings, she works days. So then for us to do it together, now that takes away of our 2 days together that night, those 2 nights.
My trading cards just came in, Joe. Hold on.
Really?
The FedEx guy just came in.
Right.
My graded cards, Jen. Hold on.
So
oh my goodness.
We just didn't have the time to do it. And like I said, we just needed the summer off. We're still trying to figure out if the game show is going to happen on YouTube. And she's got some really good ideas to do like kind of a game show thing on Whatnot, like a theme, like really detailed theme, but it's also, we got to have the products of what our idea is. So it's just kind of, it's hard to do when we have 2 or 3 nights a week together. And it's like, all right, well, let's just not really waste, but let's just use up an evening. And now it's like, okay, now we only have 2 or winter's coming soon and we can't do anything in Minnesota soon. So maybe it'll be like, all right, let's just hop back into this again. And, you will get,
you're going to be snowed in. So it's like
5 good months, here in Minnesota before it's cold and miserable and you can't do anything. So, yeah. And I don't know.
They're definitely
do so well though, because I mean, everybody loves your game shows. And, I know that you guys were talking about how it would be great if the game shows made more money. So
it hasn't made any money. So I'm like,
right. So this would be perfect. You would be making money and filling that void that everybody wants with your game shows. Because I think you would do so good at it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I will say, like, as so myself and another seller, her name's Cherished Simplicity. 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, we were doing Friday night game nights, and we did it because we were missing some entertainment value, right? We love the idea of game nights. We would do trivia, we would do Hangman, we would do Wheel of Fortune, like on a smaller kind of scale. A lot of it was trivia. But one of my things is, we would go up there and we would play for like 2 hours. And I'm like, I don't really have 2 hours to necessarily just like, I'd rather go 2 hours on YouTube and go live and make some YouTube content. And a lot of it was like, we just enjoyed it. We enjoyed playing games. And for her, she didn't care either way, made money, didn't money. She just wanted to play. And I was like, well, I need to find a way to make this lucrative, at least a little bit for my time. I'm not trying to get rich on this or anything. Mm-hmm. So we started selling player packages. So these were player packages to where it would as actually a little bundle of, we put like some crossword puzzles. We put a deck of cards. We put like a pen and, like a snack, something that you could do at home with your friends. You could do real quick. You have a little snack. So it's like a player's bundle, and included with that bundle, we would actually track your score. So anybody can play, anybody could have fun. They could guess the trivia, they could participate, like for trivia nights, right? But if you actually bought a player's package, we would keep track of your score so that we would have like an official winner. Now that changed when the whole mystery box game kind of changed, because we couldn't add in like a raffle prize for the winner, because then it's like one person would get an extra prize. But we incorporated then doing buyer's appreciations. So like after every, 5 questions, or we would do a buyer's appreciation. So now people who bought a player's package not only get the competitive nature of being scored and coming in first, but they also get to enter the buyer's giveaway. So they get the chance to win an extra prize on top of that. And that was a really good workaround. And then there's some instances where I would auction off, like around the holidays, they have advent calendars. It would be a mystery advent calendar pool, right? So it's like, let's say there's 20 socks, and I would auction off. And with each purchase, you also got to play a round of Hangman. That would be like one of the things. So they bought one. So then now people are bidding not only for the fun of pulling out a random pair of socks, but they're paying a little extra because they want to play, right? So it's like, and that's only a one person play. How else do you do that? So now these socks are going for like $9, fun, cute pair of socks. They're themed or whatever, but they're going for $9 and people get to play. And if they don't solve within their amount of time, then with the next auction, they pick their socks and they continue the game. And so whoever solves it gets a point. So if it's close to being solved, then in that situation, people would bid $1 or extra $2 because they're like, I want to be the one to solve it, I'm coming in. So there are definitely a lot of ways you can make it to where you're there, you're having fun, you're providing good entertainment, but you're also not working for free, because that we just, it's reality, right? We can't just work for free no matter if we want to all day. So there are some ways, and I feel like you guys are very clever. You guys are very entertaining. That it's just a matter of like if it's really sometimes it's not a priority, or sometimes it's just there's other stuff going on. You can't focus on it right then and there. But yeah, people are looking for more entertainment, and I'm definitely I'm all pro pushing anybody who wants to provide entertainment on the app. It keeps it fun and interesting,
Because that would work somehow. You could do that with like Wheel of Fortune. You buy something, put a letter, and solve the thing.
Yeah.
But we've gone electronic now, where you can't just add, unless we had a big TV screen that had all the letters and you could move them with a PowerPoint or something like we do on a game show. That's kind of hard to do, but.
Yeah, you definitely have a higher scale of game tech. Mine is just like, here's a little paper and I got some lines, and it's like,
Right.
But that could be a whole untapped market, really. But again, you have to like read. There are fine lines in the policies and the rules and stuff like that, so it makes it tricky. But if you could find a way in within all the realms of everything to where you're good to go, that could be a very strong untapped or very small, a lot of sellers that aren't really doing it. It could be interesting, but it is difficult. I'm not saying it's easy. I don't have anything else to offer for you other than that. But you never know.
You should just do it.
It's a lot of work. Like you said, for no money. But if there's some ways around it to make a little bit of money. But I kind of went and stole your idea and Paul's idea, Jen, from the gift card thing, which now I did it last week was the first Thursday that I did it, but I love music, and so I was playing the Name That Tune, and where I can stupid fly, holy crap. Anyways, so Name That Tune. So I'm playing a song in a certain genre, like this week will be 80s. So every song that I play is 80s. And so on Whatnot, and then the chat gets to guess what song's playing. But on the flip side of that, I got some stuff in the Buy It Now, and I also have what you guys like to do, where for $10 you can gift a $5 gift card to the chat. And so the chat's getting something, and then I'm basically breaking even and then making just like a little bit of money off of whatever. So I'm not like wasting my time doing this. And in the same aspect, I'm also creating a community, so those people hopefully can come to the shows where I'm actually selling some stuff. So
sponsored giveaways they're big. They're really blown up, and they are a big thing. I feel like if the seller does them right, there's some people are like they hate sponsored giveaways, and I totally get that. But if done with good intentions, it can truly be a win-win-win. A win for the seller, a win for the buyer, and a win for the chat. And even if you do it to where you break even and you don't make any money on the sponsored giveaways, think about it. You're running a giveaway for free. There's zero cost to you now for running this giveaway because somebody else is taking care of that for you. And what happens when you run a giveaway for 5 minutes? You build up a show. You bring new people in there. You keep people. So so somebody is giving you 5 minutes of free time to promote yourself, to get some followers, right? Because if you do these giveaways where you have to be following, so that is helping you with your following base. Now there's some sellers who they're gonna charge $50 to give away $5, and they're profiting on that, which whatever, like it's each their own. That's what their time is, they feel is worth, then that's for them. But even if you're not profiting on it though, like you can still give your people a good time, make people want to stay because you're playing a game, you're having fun, and they get to enter a giveaway, and you're not losing anything by doing it, so that's nice. That's a good, Joe, that would be something too. Like, hey, maybe somebody comes in there, they're having fun, and they're like, hey, Joe, I'm going to run a giveaway. Let's try to get, and then you can talk. People, they appreciate that, right? So it's like if I bought a sponsored giveaway, I'd flip that. Then they're gonna be like, you guys, Jen's multiverse, like that's awesome. Thank you, Jen. And it's a nice reflection on me. And the chat gets to the endorphins get up, everybody gets happy and excited, the buyer's happy, the seller's happy, the chat's happy. So yeah, it's
Everyone's happy.
as long as you don't, I feel like some people might abuse it a little bit, but it's
Speaking of abusing, let's get into this. You say you named the 5 things that tips for whatnot. What are some 3 things not to do on the platform that you're like super cringe, or things that you notice people are like, if you do this, guys, this is not the way to do it. Don't do this. Things that you don't need to do if you want to become successful at whatnot.
Well, I'm gonna kind of umbrella the whole do anything illegal. Right?
Umbrella.
I'm gonna umbrella. I feel like that's like it should be an obvious. That shouldn't even be an answer. But don't do anything illegal, and don't go against Whatnot's policy. Right. So we'll just umbrella nothing illegal. Don't go against Whatnot's policy. That a lot of people do that though, which is
something illegal
cringy.
that you would do, like sell drugs on Whatnot or something.
Yeah, or take off your, be a female and start, be a Mardi Gras style and strip down, right? Or
have you seen that
selling
before?
adult toys, selling no, but very close. Or getting drunk. You're allowed to drink, right? You can have a drink live. You can, but you're not allowed. They put in there, you're not allowed to get the verbiage is different, but basically don't get wasted and obnoxious drunk. But I've seen people that are very highly inebriated, and they're and then they start talking all sorts of like harassment and throwing out names. You name drop in negative ways, and it's like a whole. And that to me, I'm like, that's so sort of cringy. But that's not, those aren't big things. But I feel like that should be a whole, common sense. But obviously, people still do it. So
no OnlyFans on Whatnot.
No OnlyFans. No, and you know what? Somebody actually got reported for breaking a violation for selling feet pics in their Buy It Now. As a joke, they're pictures of just random men's feet. And they did it it was like, if you want to send somebody a feet pic, buy it, gift it to the chat.
Yeah, and that's actually hilarious.
It is funny, yes.
It is. But somebody reported them.
Mm-hmm.
And Whatnot said, this is you're selling sexual conduct. This is a fetish. People find this as a fetish. You can't do that, and you have to take it down. So they didn't have bad intentions. It was funny. It was engaging. People liked it, but you technically, okay, right? Which, yes, I guess it makes sense. All right, whatever. It is what it is. And it's not like Whatnot wants to, party poop on everybody's parade.
Yeah.
But if anybody finds something offensive and they decide to report it, and it's found within means, which you can't say that it's not a fetish. It is, right? I get it, and it's silly, whatever. It's a joke, but okay. So something like that, you can't do that. That's like
what if
the
they're
same
blurred
with
out?
Selling like even things.
I think you are pushing an envelope there, right?
Yeah.
If they're blurred, if I sell Joe's feet pics but they're blurred out, can I sell them that way? Whatnot.
If you're advertising them as selling Joe's feet pics, then I would say no.
Feet pics. Blurred out.
Blurred out.
What if it's just a mystery blurred out picture?
Maybe you just need to put the cover over it as if it were the magazines behind the counter over the top. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, you just have to say these are mystery pictures.
Mystery pics.
You want to buy a random?
Yeah. So
that's
a great story. That's a great story.
Yeah, and that's recently. Yeah, just heard the seller talk about that on. So I was like, whoa, okay, dang, yeah, I would, who would have thought? I would have never thought to go and report that. I get the humor in it. It's a joke. It's silly. It's nothing. It wasn't in a
jokes.
Yeah, and so that's it. That's like, drama, right? Don't engage in drama. That's very cringy. Somebody goes live and they, even if you're not saying a name, because you're not allowed to talk bad about other sellers, you're not allowed to harass other sellers, even on your show as a host. You can't go on there and be like, yeah, the Nashville Flipper. Ooh, did you see that jersey he was wearing? I don't like it. That's bad. That's poor. You can't do that. That's against policy. But even if you're implying towards somebody, even if you're just saying in general, like, yeah, I hate when people are selling, like Dollar Tree stuff, like a ghetto. That's just bad behavior, and that's drama, and that's just negative. And hearing people talk anything, especially as a host, or somebody in the chat says something and the host enjoys that conversation, and then that's just drama talking. That's kind of like mean girl stuff, which could be from boys also. And to me, that's an instant turn off. I'm like, I'm not here for that. That's a negative space, and you don't want to encourage a negative space. Yeah. So those are some of the biggest cringy kind of things. And then other than that, don't allow your dogs to sit on the clothing. Don't smoke a cigarette, and have smoke on the clothing. Don't be outside and start putting all your items in mud. Like those are like things where it's, be mindful of your product. I've seen it, which they had a tarp, but it was like very muddy all around. They did have a tarp, but they're putting the items and they're kind of, dirt is gonna get on top of the tarp around the edges, and I'm just thinking like, maybe it's not like the best plan, because people are gonna be like, is this my item gonna have dirt all on it and mud all on it? Are there worms crawling in this thing?
Right.
Yeah.
Why would that be a good setup? I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. And it comes down to, and I think because they were doing a leftover from a garage sale. I think they had a garage sale or something like that morning, like a real life garage sale. And so they kind of were just like, let's see if we can sell the rest of the stuff out before putting it away. And so I get it, kind of like an on the spot thing, but presentation does matter, right? So it's just, that would kind of be my third, is just be mindful of what you're presenting to the audience. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're thoughtful about what photos we put on eBay or Poshmark or other platforms, and whether or not you have the white background, and whether or not you have all the cute things on it. I think also it is important to make sure that you do have a good background or something whenever you're trying to sell something, anything.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. So, any other questions for Miss Multiverse here? Joe,
how long have you been reselling? Like when you first started, how long ago?
That's a little tricky, because technically I was reselling trading cards on eBay in like 2005. But I wasn't doing it. Reseller wasn't a term for me. I bought tons of cards and I had tons of duplicates, and I was boxing up all these cards, and I needed to be able to pay for my hobby, right? So I started making card lot bundles, 25 packs of random cards. I put them on auction for 99 cents, and I would just do that like in 7 days. And so every day it's like, okay, on a Sunday I would put up like 20 of those, and then on a Monday I would put up 20 of those, and on Tuesday. So I was making this money back to buy my packs and to continue paying for that hobby. So my eBay account from that, it's very, very old account. And then I started, though, when I found the term reseller, that was probably 2013. I would say about 2013. So, about 10, 11, 12 years ago. I forget the exact time frame. But I'd start doing that on Poshmark. So I found Poshmark because I was fluctuating in size drastically. I went through a heavy, bodybuilder, weightlifting kind of era where I was buying expensive workout clothing, and I was drastically fluctuating. So I was like, how can I get some of this money back? Or I would buy workout clothing like out of country to return it. It just didn't make sense. So I found Poshmark, and that's kind of where I was like, oh, this is a thing? People People do this? Then I went to YouTube and I'm like, what? People actually go out to buy something specifically to sell it? that's called reselling? And it blew my mind. To me, I was like, and I've always did garage sales. I love doing garage sales. I did like, you know, the Hall, the Pyramid, the Avon and Mary Kay and the Tupperware and the you know, I always kind of just like selling in a way to make some extra money. So I instantly fell in love with like, I'm a reseller now.
They put the
That's been
label
over
to
a
it, and you're
decade.
like, yes.
Yeah, like I'm legit now. Okay, I'm doing this.
I have a title.
Yep. It's been a long journey of a lot of different things, but yeah, I would say officially
how did the dill pickle thing come about? How did
Great question.
That kind of became accidentally, wasn't it? Your mascot, but how did that? Yeah, how did that happen?
Yeah. You know what's crazy is I just found out the guy that makes fun of a lot of resellers, he has a YouTube channel or whatever. I just found out I was shouted out. Yes, I was shouted out in one of his videos. And he didn't really make fun of me. He made fun of the fact that I could make a business off of selling pickles, because I had a short where I went to the store and I just bought out all their pickles, and then I showed my stack of packages that I sold all these pickles, right? It was less than a minute short. And he was like, wow, this Jen's Multiverse, we're slinging pickles on Whatnot now. Like, oh my gosh, you know, and it was interesting because that came from YouTube before Whatnot even before I even knew anything about Whatnot. Yes, Emily and Angie Resells were doing a YouTube live chat show. Yes, they were doing that, and they had from somewhere like this little pickle kind of thing came up where they had a pickle thumbnail, and it was, you know, and they invited me on as a guest to talk on their show. And I was like, well, I mean, I've got to dress up as a pickle. Like I'm gonna, you know, and I love to dress up. I love to dress up. I love to have funky hair and makeup. And I like to make it an experience, right? I've always been about, if I'm going to do it, like, how can I make this fun and an experience?
Showmanship.
And I ordered a pickle costume on Amazon, and I didn't.
Just because Angie had like a thumbnail with a pickle on it.
Yes, because they had like a segment or something like that where they had a little play on pickle. It wasn't big, but it was a little play, and to me that was one of the catching things to their live. Like that caught my attention because it was a fun little play, and it was just silly, you know. And so when Angie asked, can I send her a photo for the thumbnail, I put green face paint all over my face, and I took a picture in the pickle costume, and she was like, wow, okay, is this happening? And so then I did the live, and it was like, and people just thought it was silly, right? It was just funny, like whether people were laughing at me or with me, I was having a good time, they had a good time, it was a thing. And so I've had this pickle costume. So then, like with Whatnot, it starts, and there's dress ups, and there's, you know, things and events. And I'm like, I'm just going to come out here and be silly. Like, I'm just going to have a good time. I'm going to put this pickle costume on and just have a good time. And then, like, I started doing, like, it started off with Cinco de Mayo. I did a snack mystery box, like all kind of, you know, Mexican, Hispanic type goodies. And so I had different types of pickles in there. And then, you know, and then people loved it. And I didn't want it to become a huge where that's all people thought of me, right? I didn't want to just, people were trying to say like the pickle queen and the pickle slinger and the pickle. And I would play with it. Yes, I would play with it a little bit, but I was like, I don't know that I want to be known as like the pickler. So I slowed down. But people still really associated me with pickles. So then I found these pickle balls that are intensely crazy candy, and people love or hate them. And the idea of the ball play, right, with slinging balls to the chat and all this stuff. And so it made it fun. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go with it. You know, I'm going to be low key. So then I was like, I'm going to do a cute little sticker. Well, Paul, Philly Flipper, actually said, this is what you should do. And he did AI or whatever, and he made that little pickle. And I was like, so I love it. And with my colors and everything, I was like, oh, I love it. So all I did was change the background to a tie-dye background so that it's still like, you know, it shows like a burst of color. And I was like, that's cute. So and yeah, so I kind of roll with it. I don't necessarily try to push it, but if I were ever gonna be, you know, like Kevin and get a plush made, it would probably be a rainbow pickle plush. Yeah, it would probably. I mean, that would be it. So I don't want to lose that.
Yeah, I still have your sticker sitting in my desk in my workbench that I need to put on the side of my workbench.
I applied it today.
Yeah.
I put it in its home.
Oh, yay. I have never applied I have all of them. I have all of my stickers, but I've never applied them because I'm just like, I don't want to make the wrong move. Like some of them are old, you know, I've known some YouTubers and resellers and stuff from years, and they don't have those anymore. And I'm like, dang it, once I apply it, that's it. So I just keep them and I just go through them every now and then, like trading cards. I just
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I like
the designs
sticker that is.
Do you still have the designs for the stickers? You can just make more stickers.
Yeah, get more.
I do. Like I do. Yeah, I have some. Like I put them every now and then. I put them in my bin or I do them as giveaways. The what?
She means you mean other people's
stickers.
Yeah, like your stickers, gotcha. Ray.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Right? Yes. I meant like
okay.
I can't. I don't have the. Yeah, I'd have to like scan them in.
Have you gotten the one of my dog yet? Have I sent you one of those yet?
Yes.
The taters.
Yes,
okay.
I do have that one.
I just ordered Joe, breaking news. I just ordered some podcast stickers. So those should be in sometime this week.
Oh, look good.
All right.
Legit. That's when you're legit. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This week in reselling stickers. So, but Jen, thank you so much for coming on. We do appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's always
fun when we have Jen on because she's a wealth of knowledge, especially on whatnot.
So much.
We'll put all her links down there in the description below. So Jen, where and when can people find you on the multiverse that is the World Wide Web?
Well, I do have YouTube, right? So I don't have a consistent schedule of I'm putting videos out this right now. I'm just trying to get a couple out a week. So, you know, you can it's Jen's Multiverse. The same on Instagram, which is the same on Whatnot. Those are the 3 platforms I use, so it's the same name. But on Whatnot, I do my biggest, if anybody's curious about the White Elephant mystery box shows, if you're like, well, I want to see one of those, I consistently do them. My big shows are every Sunday morning, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I try to play anywhere from 3 to last week. I did 4 rounds and I could manage it. So I'm usually on for it. It makes it about, you know, anywhere from 4 to 6 hours is kind of the time frame for that. So you can catch me Sunday morning pretty much anytime. And then Thursdays I do talk shows on Whatnot. So I do a community support talk show every Thursday morning at 7 a.m. Central. So if you just want to come and ask a question or just hang out or meet some new people, the community chat shows are really good to gain some exposure and get a little growth and stuff like that.
Nice.
We're going to talk all about shipping this week.
Yeah, that's Thursday. Did you say Thursday?
Thursday, yeah. This Thursday, that's it. I'm not going to even have support, giveaway supports in the bin because I'm really going to just focus on like shipping is such a big topic for a lot of people. And I'm just going to really focus on, I'm going to have USPS's site up. I'm going to have Whatnot site up. We're going to have like everything on, you know, what they offer, all the policies for their categories, play by play, everything, you know, so we're going to really focus on shipping conversation.
Awesome. Well, Jen, thank you so much for stopping in. We do greatly appreciate you. My name is Ray.
I'm Joe from MedFlipTap.
I'm Kristen.
And we'll catch you on the flip side. See y'all. God bless. Peace.